Hello, Oyster River. I'm Mrs. McAnoff, and I'm here with the counseling department, and we're going to talk a little bit about career exploration. Whether you know what path you want to take right now, or you have absolutely no idea what direction your life's going to head in, starting now to explore those different options is a great idea. Career exploration, we're going to talk about some tools that you can use to do that. We're going to explore interests. You can match those to do career research. And this can be really useful for your course selection, to find internships, maybe even do extended learning opportunities during this time.
The tool that we're going to have you use right now is what's called My Next Move. And it's regardless of where you are in your process, it doesn't really matter because there's many different pathways. And so there are some of you who have known sort of what you wanted to do for a long time. And so if you're in that position, you will choose sort of path number one, and where you can just dig right into a career of interest and explore a lot about that specific career. The second pathway is sort of like, I'll know it when I see it. So if you start kind of playing around and exploring specific careers, and you can sort of find something that looks of interest to you. And again, you can dig pretty deeply into that career once you find it. And then the third path, where many students are in, is they really don't know, and they really just want to explore. And so with this pathway, what you're going to do is you're going to do a career interest inventory. And so it's going to ask you a series of questions of things that you might like to do. You don't have to have done them already, but they sound sort of interesting or intriguing to you. And so once you go through that, the profiler, you will get some results, which Mr. Baker will talk about in a moment. But what we want to do is, because this process is ever changing, what you are interested in today might be different 6 months from now. And so what we want to do is, once you get those results, is to put them in SCORE. And so some of you might have your SCORE account activated already. If not, you'll have an email in your inbox as to how to log in and create your SCORE account, because that's a platform that we're using for lots of different elements. But for this, we want you to put in your scores from the career interest profiler here, so it just houses it. So you could go back to refer to it at a future date, or if you were to do the profiler again in the future, you can kind of compare it to how you sort of scored, if you will, from now to the future, and to see whether it stays very consistent or if it changes. So you have that housed separately. But now Mr. Baker's going to talk a little bit about, like, when you get these scores, what are they and what do they mean?
So a career interest profiler, the idea of doing what interests you this is not a new concept. Decades ago, something called the self-directed search was created by somebody named John Holland. And with John Holland, what he did in the self-directed search was create 6 domains where careers and interest ideas tend to fall. And when you do an interest profiler, your results are usually generated as a 2 to 3 letter code, incorporating 2 to 3 of these letters on the left-hand side of the screen, which in turn is what's called your Holland code. Everyone's Holland code is unique to them, and it can change. It could change based on how you answer the interest profiler questions. Every interest profiler is a little different, but they're also very similar. An interest profiler will usually introduce you to a skill, a hobby, or an activity, and you very simply answer that you like or could see yourself liking, engaging in that skill or hobby or interest, that you do not like that skill, hobby, interest, or you're not quite sure. And what you really want to do is answer each of these questions quickly but honestly. Ask yourself, one of the questions might be, do you like building tables? If you could see yourself building furniture and creating, say yes. If you see yourself having no interest whatsoever, say no. And if you are unsure, be honest and just say unsure. But the more honest your feedback is on an interest profiler, the more honest your result will be. So your Holland code, again, will probably be a combination of 2 or 3 letters, and they are in a certain order for a certain reason based on the answers you gave to the interest profiler. So what you would want to do on My Next Move is see what your Holland code is, and then based on that code, you will have a wide array of careers that may be of interest to you in the future. The tricky thing about My Next Move, though, is that you don't have to create an account to sign up, so it doesn't know who you are and it doesn't know to save your results. So that is why Ms. Sakara mentioned we want you to put those results into SCORE so that you don't lose them and you can refer to them later. If you don't do that, you're going to have to do the interest profiler again to get results again. And that might be worth your time if you didn't take it seriously, or if you kind of breezed through it, or if things seem to have changed for you, you might want to take it again, but you might not want to. So we want you to take it again if you want to, but we don't want you to take it again if you don't think you have to. So again, check out what your Holland Code is and check out what that might mean for you as potential careers of interest. However, it is very important that you engage in a career that interests you. That is absolutely a high priority reason for why you should choose a certain career. But not every career that interests you is one that you may want to pursue. Interest is absolutely a high priority item to have in terms of a career, but there are other things that you need to factor in as well, such as what does it take education-wise to get to that career? If you have to engage in a higher level of education for 4 more years after high school, or even more, maybe you have to go to graduate school or a postgraduate school like law school, med school. If that's a lot of school and you don't like that, then maybe that's not the right career for you. That doesn't mean that a career within that cluster or that category is not appealing to you. But ask yourself, what does it take education-wise to get there? Education also costs money. So what is the potential cost for you to pursue that career? And what is the educational cost for you to pursue the career? What is the outlook on the job? If you are interested in a career that does not have a positive outlook, how do you balance engaging in a career that highlights those skills, but will be around in 5, 10, 15 years? Also, what are some areas that are up and coming or are constantly developing, and there might be a positive outlook for jobs in a field that doesn't even exist yet? So environmental science, we're always talking conservation and saving our planet. There are jobs that don't even exist yet, but that tap into those skills that you may be interested in. So look at some jobs that are up and coming. Look at some that might be petering out in terms of a demand. And if demand is fizzling out, maybe it's not a career you want to pursue. What does it take to become a person in that career? What education do you need after high school? And then start looking at what classes you should take in high school to prepare for your post-secondary education. And then, of course, look at the values. If you have a job, if you are looking at a career that needs you to travel and you don't like traveling, ask yourself if that's the right career for you, or vice versa. You want to travel and a job has you confined to an office most of the time. If you like working with people, find a career that plays into those interests, into those values. A job that gives you a lot of time off or a lot of vacation time. Ask yourself, now is a great time to start asking yourself, what is important to you occupationally, but also in your personal life, and do these careers play into those interests as well?
As Mr. Baker mentioned, the My Next Move is a great way to kickstart and jumpstart that process. Once you've done that and found out what your interests are and what your profile results are, your Holland Code, you can always come on down to the counseling office, have a meeting to do an ELO. An ELO is a great way to have students jumpstart and kickstart their experience of actually getting some training and some exposure to the career pathway or choice that the results gave you, or that you may be interested on your own. So ELOs are a way to individualize, personalize, and customize a student's high school experience. We're able to do this through exposure, maybe going on some business and industry-based tours. Periodically, you'll hear announcements over the PA, or you'll get emails, or you may be in a classroom where a teacher is partnered up for a field trip and gets out there into the industry and gets out there to businesses to see what it's like to be in those fields. We also can do some exploration, where we can do some job shadows or an informational interview. I know in your economics courses as juniors, you do some job shadow requirements, but we can also do those a little bit early if you want. talk to industry professionals, see what their career pathway was, ask them what they did for their post-secondary training, or did they do an internship when they were younger? What are the benefits of that job? Do they like being in that position? You know, learn from their experience. They're out there in the field. They've been doing it for a while. So learn from their mistakes, learn from their successes, and maybe you can go on that same track. We also can do some experiential experiences where you do some independent coursework or advanced studies or some internships. We're actually in the field, working with professionals, working side by side, having a teacher facilitate an experience with you where you're actually driving the experience and creating the experience and following the pathways and passions that you have. So after the ELO experience, you can definitely move on and see what you can do next. And Ms. Castle is going to cover that for us.
Okay, so we've went over a lot of things in this presentation. So in summary, these are the things that you can be doing right now. So first and foremost, you want to complete your career interest inventory. And again, a great platform to use is My Next Move. Once you get those results and you kind of start seeing different careers that match your interests, the next thing that you can start looking at is our program of study and what can you be doing now throughout your high school experience to help either you to kind of gain more exposure to those areas of interest, to start building your skills in that area of interest, and just kind of do some more exploring. In our program of studies, we talk about different career pathways and what courses we offer here at Oyster River High School that might meet and support those career of interests. See your school counselor. We can help kind of guide you around that as well and answer any questions that you have about courses. And then finally, certainly start your profile on SCORE. So we mentioned in your email, you should have a link to create your SCORE account if you have not done so already. And then in there, you will see your ability to start inputting just a variety of information about yourself and your activities that you're doing, and then different interests that you have. You'll be able to put your score from your career interest inventory and also just what you're doing now as a student. And then this is going to eventually help you build your resume of skills that we work to have every student have when they leave high school, is to have a resume. And so start gathering the information around these experiences that you're having, whether it be volunteer experiences, clubs and activities that you're taking part in, sports that you're participating in. All of these things are helping to build that resume. And you really want to start just documenting and tracking those experiences. All right, so that's the conclusion of this, and best of luck on your venture, and reach out to your school counselor with any questions.